again offer a simple amendment to release the files. Because either one of two things is true. Either one of two things is true. Either there's nothing here, and Trump made all this up and conned you guys into believing it. In that case, why would you vote against releasing files that don't exist? Or there are files, and you guys want to keep them hidden because you're afraid what's in them. There are exceptions to protect the victims of these crimes. And by the way, our language has been...
No, there are not.
No.
There are not.
In the Massey counter bill, there are.
That is not what you offered. That is not what you offered. You said all the files, and we have a responsibility to protect the victim.
Mr.
And
Scott.
we know where you are.
Yeah, we know where you are, Mr.
You're reporting a child victim. That's why you opened the border. That's why you opened the border. How many children got raped coming across that border because of what the Democratic Party did?
Who voted to cover up the facts?
We are back with Harry, Molly, the Rev Al, and Lisa. Molly, let me come back to you on the politics of all this, because I think that's I think in the mayhem you see a little clue at where they're going, which is nowhere fast. They're caught in their own doublespeak, and the answer is always a noun, a verb, and I guess immigration if you're a House Republican, but the legislative action and the investigative journalism are following their voters. They're following the Republican voters. And so unlike the appointment of a special counsel to investigate ties to Russia from Trump's campaign in 2016, that followed investigative journalism, largely in the Washington Post and the New York Times. The investigative journalism in this case is following an absolute bleep storm in the MAGA circle of political influence. The journalism is coming after it, and the bipartisan legislation is following the journalism that's following the MAGA outrage. What is your sense of where things stand politically right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. It is wild. You do not see a sort of Mobius strip like this often. It's kind of extraordinary. I would also add, Rupert, this is this is something that pits Rupert Murdoch against Donald Trump, right? This is not some liberal paper. There is very, very good reporting at the Wall Street Journal. Everyone on the left and right can agree that the reporting is excellent there. And you knew that this was coming, and it was, there's just no world in which the Wall Street Journal did not run with this story if it wasn't vetted to the hilt. And so we find ourselves in the situation where we have Rupert Murdoch, who is a longtime ally and confidant and friend, really, of Donald Trump, publishing this. And I think that it cannot be understated that this was because in some way, and that this was what people really wanted, and this information that they felt they were entitled to.
Harry, let me bring you in on the next step in terms of Rupert Murdoch's defense of his paper, the Wall Street Journal. What happens next?
It's very straightforward, and you can't see any wisdom in Trump's actually having brought suit. One, it extends things again and again, another news cycle with every filing. But two, it gives almost hydraulic force to what I think is going to happen anyway, which is the release of the materials. As Lisa says, truth is a defense. So what it will absolutely bring to bear is everything that's in that story, and I totally agree with Molly, and I'll just add, this is the news side of the Wall Street Journal, not the op-ed side. There's just not the slightest chance they didn't button this up and rebutton it and put suspenders on it before they went and combed it for every word. So any battle here is going to be distinctly to his disadvantage, because again, what's happened is he's made it all about, is this thing fake? The time has to come in a case like this, if it continues, where it's proven that it's not fake. That's how the Wall Street Journal defends itself. There are other things he could have done, but now he's doubled and redoubled down on that point. So in that sense, it both extends the story and makes it inevitable that the final bombshell will come. That's exactly what he hasn't been saying. I think that bombshell's coming anyway. But that the lawsuit makes it far more likely. And the short answer to your question is they'll say this is true. Look, and we have the goods here. We have reporters, and so we win, and they do.